Now, this is a video about conflict. The thing is that I find conflict extremely interesting and important for our growth and for our learning and for our self-knowledge, and for it is important to make conflict emerge and to then elaborate on it and work on it and use it and solve it, because when you find it useful, then it's not a problem anymore. Anyway, I am since I get angry easily, my emotions are very well. In the meantime that I'm talking about this, I'm going to shave my head. Anyway, yeah, I've always been quite I freely express my emotions, and therefore, and I always wanted, I mean, I've done loads of psychotherapy in order to let go, to express everything, to let go. You know, it's like I really need to let go stuff, you know. I cannot just keep things in, you know. Yeah, I can, of course, I can. But it's like I really need to express things, and this is why I'm doing these videos, of course. The thing is that, of course, because I need to express everything, in my 30 or more than 30 years of psychotherapy, I've been dealing with conflict constantly. Like, I've been facing conflict constantly, because this is what therapy is about. Inner conflict and conflict with others, and therefore I'm used to that. But we have to think that society, because we have to live together, there are sort of rules to live together, respect for the other and so on. But of course, what does that mean? That if we think that we're going to, you know, avoid all conflict because we live together and therefore we have to be nice to each other, we have to respect each other, we have to, it's just, I mean, the thing is that, yes, of course, we have to live together, and therefore we have to try our best to respect other people's points of view. But that doesn't mean that we cannot fight, and that we cannot, I mean, it is healthy because we are different. I mean, we're similar, but we are different. And therefore, it's natural that we don't agree on many things. And therefore, it is healthy to fight. It is healthy to fight in each relationship. Well, the thing is that I usually have this feeling, I feel the conflict. And especially I feel my own conflict, and this is how I deal with it, with my videos and stuff. I feel the conflict, but I feel other people's conflicts too. You know, Gregory Bateson, who was the father of systemic psychology, he said that we were all connected, yeah? The pattern which connects, yeah? He said that we're all connected, you know, and that systemically, in every system, in every group of people, temporary or more or long term, there has to be a bit of everything. And I shouldn't say the black sheep, because it's like, well, I'm going to say black sheep, but with this I don't mean, because, well, that's another video about the Black Lives Matter, eh? But I'm going to say this because I've always said it, and also because I was the black sheep and therefore I can call myself black sheep. In the sense, and because I use that word in a positive way. Yeah. So I had a sort of talent, or perhaps it was a problem, an issue, to put what's missing in the family. And so if everybody in my family, well, if I had military roots in my father's family, and because of that, I think that I expressed I needed to be a rebel, yeah? But also I needed to rebel to my sister's culture and my sister's way of doing things. Is that okay? And therefore, I always have this sort of talent to put what's missing. So if everybody in a group, in a temporary group, I find everybody being very polite, I get angry and I feel like being a rebel. If everybody's being a rebel, I feel like being polite. So this is systemic thought, yeah? But also, Carl Gustav Jung says that, I think that's it, huh? He says that we are all connected in the collective unconscious. And therefore, you know, if a group of people do not express something and they're all trying to behave the same way, there's going to be someone who does exactly the opposite. Friedrich Nietzsche said also that what the father keeps silent, the son speaks out. So we're all connected and we're all replying to one another. Yeah? And because there is a lot of people, because of the positive thinking, which wasn't that positive, isn't that positive, in the sense that the positive thinking tries to hide the shadow part and hide what's wrong and what's shitty and what's like shameful, yeah? So we have to hide it and be positive and be positive. That's not very positive at all. That's really negative, because it means that you don't embrace the human being on its whole. Anyway, because of this positive thinking, there is too many people who are trying to be nice always, and never ever fight. There's a lot of people who avoid conflict. And there is also people who say, there is some theories who say that cancer is or could be related to avoidance of conflict. This is not to make people with cancer guilty in any way, but it's because we all, I mean, it's natural that we try to avoid suffering and to avoid other people's suffering. So it shouldn't be seen as something that we're guilty about, avoiding conflict. I think that it should be seen like, okay, let's see if I'm avoiding anything, you know. Of course I avoid too, and I work on myself in order to catch myself when I do avoid something. Therefore, the thing, yeah, so, I wanted to just express a little bit better the thing of cancer. So, because there's a group of cells that rebel against the body, yeah? Why should they rebel? Why should they rebel? Perhaps, and this is my thought, because I've had two sisters dying of cancer, one sister who had cancer and who didn't die of cancer, thank heavens. My father died of double cancer, and his brothers, most of them died of cancer. So there's been a lot of cancer in my family, and I've been thinking and reflecting about this. Why? Why is this? Why does this happen? Huh? And So these cells rebel against the whole body because they are being rejected. This is my theory. And so if they are rejected, and we know if we reject parts of ourselves, the shadow part, for example, the conflict, the parts that would cause conflict, we reject them, and we try to, thanks to the positive feeling, the positive thinking would say, no, be positive, be only positive. So disregard or reject those parts of yourself which are not nice and or positive, okay? This rejection could cause the rebellion, okay? Okay, that's a theory. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be, or who are going to, be angry. Okay, so I mean, we can have a discussion, yeah? If I think this way, it's because I've had my own experience with my loved ones and I've researched, yeah? But, I could be wrong. Anyway, the thing is also that, let's go and talk about the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious, by Carl Gustav Jung, is connected to the personal unconscious. So we imagine all our consciousness, yeah, people, and the consciousness, yeah, that we can see, feel, interact with. And then there's the personal unconscious of every person, yeah? And then, underneath that, according to Jung, there is the collective unconscious that unites us all, yeah? So, if there's a lot of people who, in their personal unconscious, okay, Carl Gustav Jung says that we have to, that everything in the unconscious would need regular expression, yeah? So we have to let the unconscious express whatever it needs, whatever we need to express in this moment, whatever we need to see, whatever we need to learn, yeah? And therefore let our unconscious free of bringing out stuff, yeah? Especially that stuff that we don't like. Because that stuff is not easy to share, it's shameful, we are ashamed of this, and therefore it tends to be repressed, yeah? If we want good relationships, if we want to be accepted and loved, okay, so we try to give our best, and therefore our worst tends to be repressed. So if there is a lot of people who repress their shadow part, their shit and the conflict, yeah? A lot of them repress, a lot of them repress, a lot of them repress. Where does this shadow go? Because the shadow needs expression, the shadow does not want to be rejected. And therefore the shadow rebels in the same way that the cancer cells rebel, yeah? The shadow rebels and explodes. It literally explodes into war, into big disasters. This is my theory, yeah? We can discuss, yeah? I might be wrong, but it's a point it's a starting point for a discussion perhaps, and I would really be interested in seeing other people thinking differently. So and on the other hand, if there's a lot of people who avoid the shadow, this shadow goes to the collective unconscious, travels in the collective unconscious, and that's why it finds some way to, like the volcano, it finds the hole through which it can explode, it can find expression. Everything in the unconscious needs to find expression sooner or later, according to Carl Gustav Jung. And the shadow must be integrated into the consciousness. So the unconscious needs to keep expressing things, and therefore we need to embrace that, to come to know ourselves and come to know our shadow and use it. Because that shadow, that negative part, negative, yeah, because it's not negative, is a resource. it's a resource. We can use it. We can really use those difficult parts and transform them into resources, into strength. Yeah. Yeah. Some people tell me, "Oh, you have this energy," you know, and I say, "You can have that energy too. That energy comes from looking at my shit. Think about it. The shit, the shadow, the shit is a fertilizer. Yeah, for growing vegetables and plants. Yeah, and flowers. Yeah." So it is a fertilizer as well. Our bad parts, our shameful parts, our shit is also a fertilizer of our energy. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So I'm talking about conflict because I am extremely interested in conflict. I just say that. I said that at the beginning, I think. And I'm so interested in it that I keep making it emerge. Yeah. I make emerge those conflicts that people don't want to make emerge. And of course, I know that I cannot push people to make their conflicts emerge. But what I can do is that in my team of facilitators, in our team of facilitators, which are people who know me, who are using SPEX and who are working with me, and we are working together. I proposed them just during the beginning of the pandemic. We were holding these workshops together, and so I proposed that we would do this group on Zoom and talking about stuff and elaborating on conflict, on our conflicts, yeah, between us, between ourselves. So it was like, and we started, and it's been just fantastic. Because, of course, there is already a conflict in the sense that I am more in a role of power than them, because they're learning from me and because I am the leader, the director of SPEX, and therefore there is some hierarchy, yeah? But at the same time, this is why what I wanted is to give them voice, so that they will start saying things, you know, and little by little, this has become really very fluid, in the sense that they are feeling more and more free, and we're having fantastic discussions, and we are using the conflict to make this fantastic group of people who it's like, it's just so beautiful, yeah, because we are all free, yeah, and we're all free, but we can go through the conflict, and going through the conflict is like things emerge, and everybody, we know ourselves much better, and we love each other much more, you know, despite the fact that sometimes we feel hatred towards each other, yeah. So it's just so healthy to be able to let out all conflict and elaborate it. Do you know how do we do that? We don't do that only on Zoom. I mean, we have done that also on Zoom, and we have had certain very tough Zooms, but we do that on video, especially when there is a lot of anger, especially on my side. I do a video because I won't be so angry as when I'm talking directly to the person. So I will say my stuff, you know, and then the other person will reply to me, and then I will reply. And then, because of this production of art with the conflict, it just becomes so much more acceptable and usable, and the conflict itself, and we can go directly to working on ourselves and on the other and on the relationship. It's just amazing. So really, I really would like to divulge the fact that conflict is a huge resource, and that if we try to avoid it, it's going to make us, like, to take our energy out of ourselves, yeah, and to make us sad and depressed and lost, and you know, it's just amazing how our shadow and the conflict in the relationship is just a huge resource.